All right, everybody. People are still logging on, but I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I'm going to talk to you today about how to raise more this year end with recurring donations. And I'm going to show you how you can do that with Qgiv's tools. Before I get started, though, I do want to introduce myself. My name is Abby, and I'm the nonprofit education manager at Qgiv. I've been with Qgiv for over 7 years. It'll be 8 in January, and I have learned to love working with fundraisers. So I'm really passionate about doing research on best practices, figuring out how I can share that with fundraisers like you, and then show you how you can apply some of those best practices to the Qgiv system. Um, and I'm not only talking to you as a Qgiv employee, I also am a board member and a nonprofit volunteer. And one of my responsibilities on the board is chairing the fundraising committee. So this is stuff I do outside of work as well. I did want to give you guys a quick note. I see some of you on with familiar names. I know some of you use Qgiv. So if you have any questions about how to apply any of this to your Qgiv account, let us know. We'll get you in touch with the right people and we'll make sure you get your questions answered. If you don't use Qgiv, you're still going to walk away today with a lot of best practices and strategies you can use this year end. And you can email me or any of us at Qgiv if you are interested in learning more about our tools. That being said, I wanted to get a feel for where you are when it comes to recurring fundraising. If you want to drop in the questions box, do you do recurring fundraising? Do you have a recurring base? Is this something that you're working on and looking to improve? Do you have no recurring donors at all? Let me know where you are. Good. It looks like some of you do have a monthly giving program. For those of you who are saying that you don't put a ton of emphasis on your recurring giving, that's totally fine. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why we should be focusing on this. So what I'm going to look at today first is why we should focus on recurring giving for those of you who haven't really started yet. One big reason that we love our recurring donors is because of the retention rate. These donors will stick with you a lot longer than those people who make a one-time donation. On average, only around 46% of your one-time donors will come back and make a second gift. And that actually drops down to 23% if they're a very first-time donor. But that does go all the way up to 90% if your donors are actively supporting you and actively making gifts. So if you are able to retain these donors, that means that all the time and effort and money you put into attracting donors will pay off far longer if your donors are giving recurring gifts. So there's that. The other reason is, it's reason number 2, not number 1. The other reason is that recurring donors generally stick around longer than first time. Oh, come on, Abby, there we go. All right, the second reason is that recurring donors give more. So in 2019, and this comes from the Qgiv system, in 2019, the average one-time gift was about $168. And we know that the odds of that donor who gave that $168 gift, the odds of them sticking around are about 46%. But recurring donors gave more than once. They generally made between 11 and 12 different installments over almost a year. And their total amount given was it was just over $1,700. So their lifetime donor value is more than 10 times that of your one-time donors. So any money you invest in acquiring donors and attracting them and keeping them, that money will have a much better return if the donors you attract are making recurring gifts. So I see that some of you are saying that you have recurring donations, you have a base of donors, but a lot of you would like to increase your base of recurring donors. And I'm going to show you some tricks that you can use to get there. So if you're convinced, if you aren't attracting recurring donors now and you're convinced you want to emphasize that, or if you'd like to kind of build that up, here are some strategies you can use. So the first step, of course, is actually asking people to make recurring gifts. People are far less likely to make a recurring donation if you don't specifically ask them to make a recurring donation, even if the option is on your donation form. So one thing you can do is to try creating a dedicated appeal that you send through any of your channels, direct mail, email, social posts, text message, whatever else you're doing. When you have a specific ask for recurring donors, you can get very descriptive about why people should make a regular gift as opposed to a one-time gift. One tactic that has been really successful for a lot of our clients is creating a special group with its own name that people who make recurring gifts can join by merit of being a recurring donor. In this example here, they can join a group called the Social Change Club. I know the World Wildlife Federation has a special group for recurring donors. I'm part of a group of recurring donors that has its own kind of special name. So whatever you decide to do, if you decide to go with a name, offering this as a perk can be really effective, largely because it plays on donors' desire to be an insider. Your donors want to be part of a community that's working together to make the world a better place. And this is a great way to give them that thing. There's also a sense of exclusivity here, which can be really fun for a lot of people. So consider, if you're looking to kind of beef up your recurring giving program, coming up with a named group for those donors. You may want to include other incentives on top of being in this special group. You could do something as low-key as putting out a special newsletter for recurring donors, or you could offer a piece of downloadable content. You could also do something a little bigger, like you could do an invitation to a special donor appreciation event, or you could offer merchandise for people who give a recurring gift. There's a ton of room to get creative here. Everybody will come up with something amazing, and all of them will be different based on your nonprofit's brand and obviously your nonprofit's budget. So offering incentives is something that doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but it can have a really huge impact on encouraging people to kind of join the ranks of your recurring donors. Whether or not you choose to offer incentives, it is important to tell donors very clearly why they should make a recurring gift instead of a one-time gift. Just what will they be able to accomplish if they decide to give you ongoing support? Will they accomplish more with long-term support? Will they sponsor a child? Will they make a bigger difference in a special program? Make a case for recurring support. It's very important. And if you come up with a great reason that someone should give recurring gift, it gives you a lot of room to put together a really compelling appeal. And then I do highly recommend that you specifically call out these details as you gear up for Giving Tuesday and year end. Are you guys planning on participating in Giving Tuesday this year? If you want to drop a note in there, let me know. You can even just type yes. I'm curious to see how many of you are looking to participate there. If you are like a lot of nonprofits, you will see a little bit of an influx with new donors. Oh, good. A lot of you are participating in Giving Tuesday. But oh, Jamie is fantastic. She says, no, but there's a local giving program. That's wonderful. This strategy works for Giving Tuesday. It works for Colorado Gives. It works for any kind of regional giving day because you'll see an influx of new donors. If you're doing it on Giving Tuesday, it's December 2nd this year. And those give days require a lot of work. And you put together social posts and email blasts and all kinds of different assets. And bringing in those recurring donors really is a great return on the investment that you put into those programs. These donors, like we mentioned earlier, will stick around longer and they'll also give more. So once you've figured out how to ask for recurring gifts, you've told your donors why they should give a recurring gift as opposed to one time, maybe you've given them an incentive or had them join a club, it's time to set up a way to process those gifts. And you can do this in two ways. You can either add recurring options to your primary donation form, so the main one that's linked on your webpage, or you can create a donation form that you use specifically for appeals for recurring gifts, or you can do both, and a lot of people do both. But the first thing to do, this is really important. So the first thing to do is make sure that when you set up recurring donations that you do not default your form to a recurring gift, especially on your primary donation forms. Doing that will make your donors feel like you're being sneaky or like you're trying to kind of trick them into giving more than once, and that can put them off making a gift at all. This is from a study that our friends at Next After did, and they found that defaulting to recurring gifts just tanks donor conversion on a form, so don't do that. There is an exception. The exception could be if you create a donation form that is used exclusively for a specific appeal for recurring gifts. So if Cheyenne decides to send out an appeal asking for monthly donors, it would be okay to take donors who click on the CTA button to make a monthly gift. It would be okay to point them to a page that has the monthly gift as a default. But as a general rule, don't make your form default to recurring gifts. Instead, add some design elements to your form that draws attention to the recurring options you give them. You could go all out and build a beautiful custom form like this one here did. You can see here there's the option to make a one-time gift or the option to donate monthly, and they have that little sticker that says it's the greatest impact. Or you could go the simpler route and you could add a banner image and a sentence or two about the significance of recurring gifts to your, and you could add a maybe a little like section that explains what donors will accomplish when they do that. Either way, no matter what you decide to do, the goal here is to let donors know why and how they should make that kind of gift. And then this is another big thing. When you're creating your form, be sure you enable multiple billing options. So some people may want to give monthly, some may want to give every 2 weeks. That was a popular option for some of our clients at Qgiv. They had people that wanted to make a gift every time they got paid, and they got paid every 2 weeks. You could offer once a quarter or once a year options, just whatever you decide to do. Give your donors some options. I'd also really recommend letting donors set the start and end date for their gift. Giving them the option to let them choose a time frame that's right for them is really valuable. I know for me, maybe if I am landing on Nancy's page on Giving Tuesday, but I don't get paid until the following Wednesday, I may want to set up a recurring gift right now when it occurs to me, but I don't want to bill it right away. So let people set their own start and end dates. Okay, so once you've set up your form to take recurring donations, and once you've started to build a group of recurring donors that are engaging with you on a regular basis, it's time to start focusing on cultivating that relationship. So recurring donors are more likely to stick around than one-time donors, but we still need to show them a little extra love once they've joined the ranks of recurring donors. And one great step toward that retention is building a receipt, especially for your recurring donors. If you're using Qgiv, actually, you can set up 2 different emails. You can set up one that goes out to your donor when they set up their gift, and another one that goes out each time that donation is processed. So if I decided that I wanted to give on or set up my gift on Giving Tuesday, but I'm not going to process the first transaction until the next Wednesday, I'll still get an email that pops up in my inbox thanking me for setting up the donation, and then I'll get a receipt when it's actually processed. So that's a great idea, and I'll go a little more into what that looks like. Do be sure that you send your recurring donors periodic updates about what they're achieving with their donations. These donors are trusting you with regular donations over long periods of time. They are highly invested in your work, and so tell them what that investment is accomplishing. That's a very easy way to make a huge impact on someone's decision to continue their support or cancel it. Along with that, you will want to segment your donor list so you can speak specifically to your recurring donors. This will make all of your communications more effective. A good example of this is when you send out an appeal. If you ask someone who's already a recurring donor for a year-end gift, they may feel like you don't know that they're already actively donating to you. But if you send out an appeal that recognizes that that donor is already an active supporter and you ask for a little additional help getting through an exceptional circumstance or a little help funding a program, they'll be more likely to go and give above and beyond what they're already donating. So segment those communications. Even if you choose to exclude your monthly donors from your regularly scheduled appeals, I would encourage you to occasionally, and the keyword is occasionally, invite them to increase the size or frequency of their gifts. This could be something like asking a $20 a month donor to bump it up to $25 or $30, or it could be asking someone who gives twice a year to give once a quarter. I wouldn't do this all the time. This is maybe like a once a year ask kind of thing. But this can be a great way to cultivate those relationships, earn a little more money, check in with your donors and see how they're doing. It's a tried and true fundraising tactic that it takes a little effort, but it works out. And then finally, take some time to put together a plan for reaching your donors who may be either lapsed or at risk of being lapsed. If you're in the Qgiv system, you can actually set up automated emails that go out to donors when they're nearing the end of the time period they set for their recurring gift. So if your donor's recurring gift is set to expire in December, you can send them an email in November. You can also send emails that will go out if the card a donor is using is about to expire or if it was canceled. So if I get my card stolen and I freeze that card, you can reach out to your donors and ask them to continue their support with a different payment method. Another thing you could do if you have the time and really want to just knock your donors' socks off is you can call your recurring donors who have expiring gifts come up and personally ask them if they want to renew their gift. A study by our friends over at Next After found that this was a very effective method. Even if a donor was aware that their gift was expiring and they decided to let it expire, reaching out to them personally is a very effective way to inspire them to keep giving. So you know now why you should work toward attracting recurring donors, you know how to facilitate those gifts and how to build relationships with those donors. So I want to show you how Qgiv can help you do that. The first step is to make sure you have enabled recurring gifts on your forms. It's really easy to do this. You just go into your form settings in the Qgiv control panel and make sure that recurring donations are toggled on. Then you can choose the billing frequencies you want to offer. So you may choose to not offer annual gifts. You maybe want to focus on monthly. You can customize that here. And then remember, you want to set the default to one time unless you're using this form exclusively for recurring gifts. That is really important. And Jennifer just chimed in and she asked, what's the minimum recurring options you'd recommend? And really, I would say I would certainly offer monthly. I would maybe look into doing quarterly and annually, but that is not something that I have a ton of research on. So I would take a look and see maybe where your fundraising cadence falls. So if you are regularly sending out appeals quarterly, maybe you want to enable that when others wouldn't. I don't think there is necessarily a right answer, and I am certainly an advocate of giving donors as many options as possible without overwhelming them. So I would start maybe with enabling everything or enabling only a couple and then tweaking it as you see feedback from donors. If you don't see anyone setting up a semi-annual gift in a year, for example, maybe you can turn that off. So regardless, you can tweak that really easily in your back end in the Qgiv control panel and kind of experiment with turning them on and off. If you have a text to donate keyword associated with your form, and this is something we're seeing be very popular with Giving Tuesday campaigns in particular, your donors will be able to set up recurring gifts even if they are initiating that gift by text. So if you're using Qgiv, you would have them text 50155. If you are using a different text giving software, of course, it would be a different number. And your donors will indicate how much they want to give. And then they'll be taken to a streamlined form that you would have set up for this campaign, and they'll be able to choose from the recurring options that you've enabled on your form. So this is a great opportunity to reach people on their phones where they are already spending a ton of time. And it's very easy for them to land on this form, set up a recurring gift, and process it right away. One relatively new feature at Qgiv is recurring donations for peer-to-peer events. This is really handy, especially if you're using a peer-to-peer campaign for your year-end or Giving Tuesday campaigns. And we are seeing a lot of that. This is an excellent tool for Giving Tuesday campaigns. It's also great for DIY fundraising campaigns. So if you have any donors who want to support you during the holiday season by maybe donating a birthday or a holiday party to raise money, you can give them the opportunity to take recurring gifts. We're seeing a lot of Giving Tuesday campaigns run on this peer-to-peer platform, so this is really handy. It's also great for board campaigns, and that's something I'm seeing a lot more of, especially as we go into the end of this super weird year. If you're working toward getting your board more involved with your fundraising this holiday season, try giving each board member a peer-to-peer page, and they can take recurring donations that way too. Once you've enabled recurring options on your form or in your peer-to-peer event, it's time to build some receipts. This is my favorite part of the Qgiv platform because it gives you so many options. So in the receipting area of your Qgiv account, so you're going to go to your form and then you're going to go to the receipt area. You can set up special email receipts for recurring donors. So one, you would want to turn those on, zhuzh them up a little bit, add some photos, give them some links that they can go to. The goal here is to make your recurring donors feel amazing about the support they're giving you. And then you can make these receipts even more relevant by using something that we call conditional content. When you use conditional content, it lets you add special language that calls out the specifics of your donors' gifts. So if Jennifer decided that she was going to give to a specific restriction or she was going to give to my building fund, she would get a couple sentences in her receipt that talk specifically about how her gift will make a difference to that program. Building these emails is very simple. I am not a talented graphic designer, and I can put together a really nice looking receipt in just a couple of minutes. So this is another thing. It's very low requirement on your end. It just takes a few minutes, and it can make an immense impact on the people who are loyally giving you some much needed revenue. I also wanted to point out, I have sparkles here by the update these periodically bullet point. Please update these periodically. You don't have to do it every month, although that would be cool. But you could build the best ever receipt, but it'll get stale after a little while. If your monthly donor gets the same email receipt month after month after month, it'll stop being special. So even something as simple as swapping out a photo or changing the first sentence or two in a receipt can make a big impact. I can attest to this personally. I do make monthly donations to a couple different nonprofits, and one that I've supported for 2 years now has sent me the same receipt every month for 2 years. So update them periodically. You'll keep your donors' attention. You'll keep them excited about supporting you, and you will kind of strengthen that emotional bond that they have with your mission. Qgiv's tools can also help you retain and cultivate those recurring donors. And there are a few different tools you can use to do that. You can always pull a list of recurring donors, which is really helpful, especially if you're doing personal outreach to those supporters. So if you have staff or volunteers or your board members calling your donors to thank them for their gift, that's a great way to do it. Just pull a list, get their phone number, and send it out. If you use a CRM, you can very easily update your donor records to reflect their level of involvement. You can also use email integrations to send targeted emails to your sustaining donors. Those tools, the CRM and the email integrations, make it a lot easier to segment your emails and other communications It will make it easier to make them relevant to your donors. You can send them updates, you can bring up their loyalty, and you can generally make them feel like they are doing something amazing by supporting your organization. Okay, so I blew through a ton of information in 25 minutes. So here are some takeaways. First, build a plan to attract recurring donors. They are easier to retain and they give more over their donor lifetime than their one-time counterparts. You can do this by enabling recurring options on your forms, but don't make that the default setting because you don't want to make them feel like you're trying to pull a fast one. Send specific asks for recurring gifts. It's great to ask for support, and I hope that you're doing that on a regular basis because your mission is special and it is necessary. But asking specifically for recurring gifts and telling donors why they should do that is really important. And then once you've started building that base of recurring donors, use reports and integrations to build relationships with those people, cultivate those relationships, maybe ask them to upgrade their gift every once in a while, and then keep those donors just engaged in your organization. We can help you do all of those things. I know a couple of you have mentioned that you are Qgiv clients. If you have any questions about how we can help you do anything I talked about today, email us. You can email us at support@qgiv.com, or you can give us a phone call. You know you're going to talk to a real person anytime you call. We would love to help you with this. If you are not using Qgiv and you want to learn more about our tools and how we can help you attract and retain your donors, we'd love to talk to you too. You can send us an email at contactus@qgiv.com and we'll get you in touch with someone. We'll learn about your mission. We'll learn about what you want to do, and then we'll show you how to make it happen. And then, of course, I would not be a good blogger if I didn't take this second to blog or to plug our blog. Go check that out. There's a ton of information about recurring programs and all kinds of fundraising best practices. I see that there are a few of you who have questions. So I'm going to switch over there. Can you make separate receipts for each type of donation? Asks Nancy. Yes. So there are a couple of different options. There are different kinds of receipts for recurring donations, one-time donations, event registrations and event donations, and then there are some other ones that you can tailor if you're using auctions or peer-to-peer or anything like that. The other thing you can do is use that conditional content tool that I mentioned to kind of get into the very specific types of donations. And when I say very specific, I mean if they donated to a particular restriction, you can add special language about that. If they gave their gift in memory of a loved one, you can add conditional content that mentions that. So the goal is for us at Qgiv, the goal is to make it easy for you to build receipts that make your donors feel really special. And the more you can call out the specifics of those donations, the more special they'll feel and the more likely they will be to continue to support you. And then Anne asked, can unique recurring gift receipts be created for those of us who are small right now and are using the START plan? Yes, Anne, absolutely. The START plan automatically includes recurring donations, and those recurring gift receipt options are available in your form receipts. So if you have a form titled donation form, you'll go into Qgiv, select that form, and then go to the receipts area to build out those receipts. Does anybody have any other questions? I know I have my friend Donald on the line. He's here to answer any questions that you might have. So if you do have any questions that occur to you, reach out to us. You can reach out to me and I'll either pull in Donald or I'll pull in someone else to get you the answer you need. You all have sat with me through half an hour of me talking. I threw a ton of information at you. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you get some ideas about how to build recurring donations into your year-end and Giving Tuesday campaigns. I hope you are inspired to go and get people excited with cool receipts and cool landing pages. And I hope you are ready to have a fantastic year-end. We are here to help you if you need us. We are ready to help if you need us, and we will be in touch with you if you need us. Keep an eye on your inbox. I'm going to send you an email tomorrow that will have a recording of this session. I'll also include some other resources you can use as you work through building out your year-end campaigns and as you work through building your recurring donors. So keep an eye out for that. It usually takes me about 24 hours to get that turned around. If you don't get it within 24 hours, feel free to email me and yell at me. All right, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. You guys are great. I will talk to you soon. Have a good Thursday and happy fundraising.